On Thursday, November 8th, a fire broke out in Northern California near Chico that grew rapidly in size. The Sacramento Metro Fire District was one of the many stations that helped extinguish the Butte County fire.
Actually, we were at Rancho Cordova High School doing a pumpkin drop. Well, I got the call from the chief that we were going to be dispatched to the fire. So I told my crew to get ready to be deployed for 14 days.
Once called into action, firefighters must drop everything that they're doing and respond to their call. On their journey up to the fire, there are several things that can go through one's mind.
I was thinking that I had myself, my engineer who I've worked with for a while, and then I had two relatively newer guys that had never been on big fires. And so I wanted to kind of mentally prepare them for what we were going to be experiencing.
Very similar, just thinking about tactics that we're going to use, potential, the rate of spread of the fire, because from initial report we heard it was small, and about a half hour it grew to twice its size, and by the time we got there we couldn't even get an actual number on it, so that was going in the back of my head, and just mentally preparing to do some work.
Making it to the fire is one journey. However, until they actually get there, they don't know what to expect.
Me personally, just the whole scene, there's a lot going on. As I would describe it, there's structures that are on fire on your right and huge commercials on your left, and you got trees on fire, you got down power lines, so your situational awareness was what really trying to sink in. It's a huge picture, and we only see a small part of it, so just trying to look around and kind of understand what's going on.
But I also felt pretty bad for all the people that we saw, because a lot of people that were homeless camped out in like the Walmart parking lots and just all over the place. And you don't realize the devastation when you see it on the news. When you're actually up there, it's overwhelming. So from my point of view, that I was trying to keep in mind is that we were very deep into the town of Paradise. We had gone through multiple, more than I could count, power lines that were laying across the road, and telephone poles and obstructions. We saw several burning, like Taco Bells and McDonald's and everything else burning. And by the time we actually got to where we were going to be, and we got engaged in the actual firefight, we found out that there were no fire hydrants to resupply our water, and there was no water tenders which can bring us water. So whatever we had is all we have.
There are many complications that wildfires have that city fires just don't.
The type of fires that we saw up there, we could probably knock down fairly quickly and easily around here. But with 40 and 50 mile an hour winds and how fast the fire came through, all the obstructions, all the power lines and everything that were down, you normally see a couple structures that are burned, or you might see maybe even up to 20 total. This one was completely different because it was like an entire town, just everything was burned. There was very little structures that survived. You want to be optimistic, but the reality was there was hardly anything that did. It just was all burned up.
For many, fighting in a blaze like this only comes once in a firefighter's career.
I'm relatively new to the service. This is my first, what we call a strike team, or actually really big wildland. Yeah, by far it's the worst that I've seen. From my experience and other people telling you, it's pretty devastating.
It's probably what we call a career fire. So there's a good chance you won't experience or see something like this again in your career. Hopefully we don't. I mean, it's like 12,000 structures burned. Hopefully we never see that again. So,
although the fire ended, the scars it left behind remained.
There's a bunch of things that you'd watch, disbelief. I mean, you see a house you could picture the house. You could see, okay, now I'm in the living room, and look, there's the chimney and where people lived, and you see people's items, and it becomes very surreal while you're stepping in that, and that's just all burned to a crisp.
What was difficult was coming back, and then we needed to go get a couple supplies from Walmart or something like that. And the amount of people that were coming up to us, it really affected me. They were coming up to us to thank us for our work. And then, we would ask them about, how are you doing? And they would tell us about how they lost their home, and how their daughters lost their home.
Oh my God, it's more people.
And their grandparents lost their home. And everybody they knew lost their homes, and they were homeless. They had nothing other than what they were wearing. And then they would tell us, but it's okay, and just want to give us a hug and say, thank you for everything you do. And I just felt like, wow, I wish I could help you so much more because you just lost everything.
This has been Melissa Ellis
And Carly Krause.
reporting for the Talon Morning News.